Valley Center City Council meeting for October 18th, 2022 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo,
Here.
Councilmember Stamm, Councilmember Evans,
Here.
Councilmember Bass,
Here.
Councilmember Anderson,
Here.
Councilmember Gregory,
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter,
Here.
Councilmember Wilson,
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Meeting, be with us. I ask your blessing upon each and every one, especially our leaders, our mayor, our city council members, and city administrators, and all the first responders. Lord, I ask that your Holy Spirit will be in charge of tonight's meeting, will guide us and lead us, so the meeting will be meaningful, fruitful, and productive. Help us to work together as a team and make a difference in people's lives. Lord, let your will be done as we plan and make the decision tonight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 5, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, administration agenda, the city council meeting minutes of October 4th, 2022.
Move to approve the minutes of the October 4th, 2022 regular council meeting as presented, amended.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. All right, we have no presentations or proclamations. Then at this time, we're at the point of the meeting where we allow anybody here that would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, we have no appointments. So we are going to move along to old business. Item A, Ridgefield HOA speed limit.
Evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Mayor, members of council. So in the last council meeting, staff was directed to gather some speed and traffic count statistics for the Ridgefield HOA as they came in and requested for a reduction in speed limit for that area. We went out, we put out 2 different counters, basically on each end of Redbud. And you have those statistics there in front of you. I did highlight out basically the totals and the averages you have there. As you can see, one end, your mean, i.e. average speed, for one end was 22.5 miles per hour. Your maximum being 48.7. There was 4,790 vehicles on that counter for 6 days. The other end, we had 1,118 vehicles. Your mean, i.e. average 22.6. Your maximum 68.1 miles per hour. Now, I would like to say, after doing some research on these counters, these were placed to go across both lanes, so they caught both directions of traffic. How they figure speed is through timing of the hoses as the wheels go across the hoses. So like anything else, they're not immune to error. So these are not exact. So like anything else, could someone have gone 68 miles an hour along that stretch of road? Yeah, it's possible. Is it possible that that one high speed could have been an error? That's a possibility. This is for discussion only.
Yeah, let me clarify that for anybody that may not have heard you. We're just discussing the results of the speed study tonight, since Captain,
Chief.
no, I looked at it. I know I shouldn't have looked. Chief Newman and City Administrator Clark are both out. So there will be some more evaluation before staff comes back with a recommendation. So, Councilmember Evans.
I just want to recognize that during this, in the second one,
Yes, sir.
that there are several of them that are in 50s and 40s.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Those are the maximum speeds. And if you look at that down there, these are by the hour. And so if you go by, there were 98 cars in that hour. You have a minimum of during that hour, 7.5, maximum 55. And then the average for that hour would have been 22.2. So that is a maximum speed. And then if you clear across end, it'll say how many of those in that hour actually exceeded 30 miles an hour. 7. So yes, that's how you read those.
Thank you.
You absolutely.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Thank you for clarifying that. I actually, could you clarify what 85% speed and 95%
Yes.
speed means?
So you'll see the 85% speed at 32.79 miles an hour. What that means is 85% of that, which one was that?
That's just the
Thank you.
overall average.
85% of that 1,118 cars were under 32.79 miles an hour.
Okay.
And then obviously 95% were under 39.93 miles.
There's a lot of information in this. So
Yep.
yeah, I look forward to a recommendation next time.
And the median obviously is the middle. They use all these different terms to mean the same
Right.
thing. So obviously you're going to have half of them over that speed, and half of them under that speed approximately.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business. Item A, request for street closure of Chamber of Commerce. I'm not sure who's going to present this, but
Stay up here. I'm gonna get there. So, Valley Center Chamber of Commerce, again, is coming to request street closures for Trick or Treat Street, the closure of 100 and 200 blocks of Main Street from the hours of 3 to 8 p.m. on October 28th, 2022. And there is a map in your packet showing what closures there are. So that they will close off parts of Park Avenue and then down toward Ash and then down at Main Street right at Meridian, then close that turn lane, just like basically like for the car show.
questions from council? Councilmember Wilson?
The letter requests 3 to 8, but the motion shows 4 to 8. For clarification, which should it be, 3 to 8 or 4 to 8? 3 to 8. Okay. Thank you, Christie. I make a motion to approve closure of 100 to 200 block West Main Street on October 28th, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the annual Trick or Treat event.
Thanks.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Item B, approval of contractor bid for water treatment plant.
Here we are.
Here we
made it this
are.
far. So back in August, as we all know, we advertised for proposals for the design build of a water treatment plant. After several addendums, a few fielded some questions and a pre-proposal conference, we received proposals from 3 joint ventures or partnerships, what have you. The selection committee of 4 reviewed and scored these proposals, and the tabulation of those scores are in your packet. After discussion and based on the scores, the committee decided to have one proposer come before you this evening. So we have with us this evening a collection of individuals from Burns and McDonald, CAS Constructors, and they have a brief presentation for you to be followed by an opportunity for some questions. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Brian Meyer, Construction Manager, Burns McDonnell, Travis Stryker, Joint Venture Manager, CAS Constructors, and allow them to introduce their gentlemen.
Good evening. As Roddy said, I'm Brian Meyer with Burns McDonnell. I'll be serving as one of the joint venture managers for this really exciting project. And really want to express our appreciation for the opportunity to be here tonight. We understand how important this is to the community. So really appreciate this opportunity. Did want to introduce the rest of our team, Travis Stryker, who's the other joint venture manager, the lead construction manager as well. We have Jake White with Burns McDonnell, who is going to be the project director. Dana Weir, the design manager. Don Kochi, who will be the operations arm of the team. And then back behind is Tom Costello with Wildcat Construction. So, as I said, the reason that we are excited about this tonight is that when we start on a project like this, first thing we look at is the team that we put together. And we start looking for the compatible experience and expertise that matches the needs of your project. And I think the team that we've assembled, I'm extremely proud of, because they have a tremendous amount of experience and expertise in very, very similar projects, which is so important to successful delivery of the project. The other thing that this team has going for them, besides the project experience and expertise, is the fact that they've worked together on numerous projects, which is another factor that improves communication, project execution, and project delivery. We've seen the success and the efficiency grow over time. So I'm really proud of the team that we've assembled and fully confident that we'll deliver a very successful project. The team is so important, but there's a lot of factors that are important in the success of a project. And individually and cumulatively, we have to look at all of these and focus on all of these and deliver on all of these. Legacy project. We understand that this is a generationally significant project for City of Valley Center. And that's going to be the foundation for our approach, understanding that and delivering the success that it deserves in that category. So keep on budget, establish a budget early during the design process, design to that budget, construct to that budget. Always focus on staying within the budget. That's a commitment we make. Collaboration. We've talked a lot about this, talked to Rodney some about this, and the importance of collaboration in this type of project is that it involves all parties, between the design team, the construction team, but most importantly with the owner's operators, so that everybody jointly makes decisions and that there's that buy-in and understanding of what our goals are and what we're trying to design, build, and operate. The funding alternatives. That's an interesting one today, because there's so many programs and opportunities for funding, but finding the right ones that fit and then applying for them and bringing them into that's what we've been doing over the last year and a half, 2 years, very significant element of project execution. And there are opportunities out there, and if we could find them to reduce the cost, whether through grants, principal forgiveness, or other programs, that's what we're committed to finding. Simplified operations, that can get fairly detailed in what we want to talk about. We say simplified, but it covers a lot of territory. But at the end of the day, the facility that's built has to be something that can be comfortably, safely, reliably operated. So we start focused on that. And you'll hear more from Don here shortly about how we do that from the beginning of the project. Best value, lots of choices to be made in a project like this, starting with the type of treatment process that's most applicable to your water quality and your water quality goals. So we spend a lot of time, look, which one's going to provide the right value, leverage your water resources, from a capital cost perspective, from an operating and maintenance cost perspective. You have to blend all those together and look for the value. So that's another starting focus of this project. Deliver the project on time. When you set a schedule, we stick to the schedule. And we understand that there's a lot of things that can go into that. but that's another commitment that we make going into this. So I appreciate it. I'm going to turn it over to Jake to talk a little bit more about that, our team's experience.
Good evening, everybody. Jake White, Burns McDonnell CAS team. I'm going to be your project director. Couldn't be more excited to be here tonight and be talking to y'all. I know you guys are super excited as well. You have to be, right? This is a new era for Valley Center and something absolutely to get excited about. So, Brian, one thing that he pointed out is this is a legacy project for the community and for everybody in this room. And it's also, a project of firsts. Right? This is the first time the city is going to be designing, constructing, owning, and operating a water treatment plant, right? And that's not something to take lightly. That's pretty significant, right? Delivering clean, safe water to the customers of the city is very, very important, and it's a first for this community, right? And Dollar to a Donut says it's probably also the first time a lot of you have gone through and done a project utilizing design build in the municipal utility arena, right? So a couple of firsts, and to me that's exciting. It's an exciting time, but even though it's a first for a lot of you all, it is absolutely not a first for us and our team, right? Burns McDonnell and CAS have been working together to deliver drinking water treatment plants using design build for 26 years, right? So we were really pioneered the design build in the municipal drinking water and wastewater market 26 years ago, right? And over those 26 years, we have delivered 36 projects over 26 years, right? That's pretty significant. And at the end of the day, over those 36 projects, and those projects are for communities very similar to you all, right? It's this type of community that we know and understand and know how to work with to get things done. And, a couple of very, very important statistics and facts about the projects and these, 26 years, 36 design build projects is not a single time have we had a contractor initiated change order on any of the projects that we have done. Not one single time, right? It's a testament to how we do business and a testament to how we work with communities to solve problems and to do it effectively. In addition, not a single time have we had a schedule overrun on a project, right? To me, that is success, right? There's lots of different ways to define what is successful, but when you're talking about never exceeding a budget and you're talking about never going long on a project or exceeding a schedule, that's success. And it really is a testament to how we do business, right? So over all of these years and all of these projects, we have developed procedures and we have developed processes. And you can develop a procedure, you can develop a process, and that's all fine and dandy, but you have to have the team that's willing to and can execute those procedures and those processes. And that's exactly what we've done and exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to hand it over to Travis and Dana to talk about those processes, to talk about those procedures, about how we're going to execute this project for you all.
All right. So I think this was one of the figures that we had in our proposal, and really this is the approach that we take to the project. We have it broken down into two phases. The first phase is our preliminary design and really getting to the cost of the project, the definition of what you'll be buying. And then we move into the second phase, which is the construction and detailed design. So biggest thing with us, we are a fully integrated team. There is not a single meeting that Travis and I don't show up to with Jake and the rest of our team, that we sit shoulder to shoulder, sometimes to the annoyance of each other after a while, but it's all in a really good working environment. And I think it provides for a really good collaborative environment with city staff as well. Because the first step that we go into is looking at what is the right treatment technology for you. I'm not going to dive into the weeds of those technologies, but there's a lot of different options. And there's great reasons to pick any of them, from cost to ease of operations to familiarity with the operations staff that you have. And by having our fully integrated team, we're really diving into what's the best solution for you. And we have early cost feedback in that, from looking at maybe 2, 3, 4 alternatives up front and putting together rough order of magnitude costs of what those are, looking at pros and cons from the operations maintenance side, and what the treatment plant goals are. And then we pick a piece from that and move forward. And then we get into designing to that budget that is important on every project. I've never had an owner say, here's an unlimited pot of money. I wish, but it doesn't exist, right? So we're getting that continuous estimating feedback and feedback from staff on what makes the most sense. And then from there, moving into what's the best value. Y'all know there's a dozen different pump vendors out there, and the lowest bid might not be the best option for you. Whether it's choosing someone that you know you're going to get good maintenance and good support after it's in service, or matching someone that you've already got within the system. So that provides the city the ability to say, we'll bring you the price of every pump that we get a price back on. We look at it together and we say, okay, maybe $20,000 is worth spending more on to get something that matches with what you've already got in your system. That's not a decision that we're making without input from the city. It's very much an integrated process. And all of that then goes into
and the open book transparent process that we have up there under phase 1 is just that. We will work together, city, engineering partner, contractor, and create the estimate. And these estimates will be very detailed, cubic yards of concrete, all the details there. And we'll sit down with city staff and we'll go through all of that. But all the quotes we get are open book, competitive quotes on materials, subcontracts, all those things will go through the city. So that's one reason why our team is so successful in this, is because we're transparent through the process. There's no surprises for anybody. And that's the easier having that open book, transparent process. It just keeps, no one likes surprises. I don't think you all like them either. And that's how we find ourselves not getting into that area of surprises, is because we're so open book and transparent through the entire process. That kind of rounds out phase 1. At the end of phase 1, you'd have a total price of the project. We would have a schedule, detailed schedule that's been built. That would show all the activities of the project and how long it'll be until the plant's operational, show all those things. Dana and her team will be working with a basic design report that you'll have, so it'll kind of outline all the different aspects of the technical side of the project. So you have those tools to then go into a phase 2 scope. And that's the 2 phases. So this is the second phase. I would say it's the fun phase because it deals with construction, of actually getting on site. But before we do that, the very first stage here is the detailed design. And so we've taken that design to about 30% at this stage. That's one of the things about it here, is getting to construction sooner. That's the nice thing about design build. So while Dana and her team are off doing detailed design, we're out buying stuff. A lot of things, if you bought things recently, take a little longer than they used to. So a nice thing about design build is we can do early procurement on some of those really long lead items. We were in a meeting yesterday that simple things like our flow meters, which all water plants have, are now 40 to 50 weeks out. They're 5 weeks out. So we know that. We're in the industry. We're working with our suppliers all the time. So we'll identify those and we'll get out and buy those things right away while design is still being finished. As we lead into prior to mobilization and actually getting out there, we'll have that procurement underway. We'll also be doing all of our safety planning specific to the project, getting those documents in order. And then we do mobilize. And while I've been in her office and you all have been in Burns and Mac's office during phase 1, now we're in the field. Burns and Mac's actually in the field with us. So it's a time where the design build team's still shoulder to shoulder, and it really keeps construction on schedule. It's one of these guarantee that schedule is the designer of the structural engineers, often right there in the field with us. So if there's a question, there's no email traffic and all stuff. They come out there, we look at it. Finally, we get to start up and commissioning. We're managing that for the city. The city's heavily involved in it because they need to know how to understand how the plant works. But fun part. We'll test the plant out completely before we even connect it to the distribution system. That coordination will be done well in advance before we actually tie in. That's the design and construction phase. Don, I'll have you come up and talk about the operations stage efforts.
Thank you, Travis. My name is Don Cochi, and I'm an operations guy. I love operations. I love working with operators. I love starting up new plants. This is exciting, and I'm really looking forward to this project. And honestly, it's right down the road from me. I live 15 minutes away west of Colwich, so it's real close, and I'm really looking forward to this. Give you a little background on me. I'm a Class 4 operator from the state of Kansas, certified with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Prior to joining Burns McDonnell, I spent a good part of my career as the water treatment superintendent for the city of Hutchinson, Kansas, overseeing their day-to-day operations and also their oversight of all the operators and operator training during that time. So that's where I really developed my love for the operations. And as I go through this, you're going to find out that I use the word operations probably about 50 times. One thing I was talking with Rodney about earlier, I really have to commend you and your staff on how you structured this proposal on the RFQ. And what I mean by that is how you've included operations as a focal point of this project. Over my career, I've seen many projects that really didn't give the operations side enough consideration. And at the end of the project, you could tell that. But that's certainly not the case here with the approach you're using. By early engagement with your operators, you will see a lot greater success, and you'll have a lot more confident, comfortable operators at the end of the day. The best projects I've seen are those where operators have been brought in early in the projects, part of the project team, and been kept involved throughout the entire length of the project, from design to completion. And those are by far the most successful projects I've been a part of. My role here is essentially going to be an advocate for you to basically oversee to make sure that the operators are being trained properly and they are going to be fully capable of operating the plant and doing the maintenance on the plant and be totally comfortable in their duties and tasks. And that's not a simple task. I mean, operators learn at different rates, but I've had a chance to meet a couple of your folks and was impressed with what they know, and I think they have a huge opportunity for growth and picking this up, and I think they'll be excited about it as well. Bottom line is, we aren't going to build you a plant, hand you the keys, and walk away. That's not how we work. Our operations team is going to be involved from beginning through end, and then some, and be available for you when needed. And there would be those times when it could be the middle of the night, you have an operator to make a call. Having been in the operations for City of Hutchinson, I was on call 24/7, 365 days a year for over 10 years. So, this would be a piece of cake, I think, compared to that. But that's just early on. Those were some of the things that could be to expect, or that the operations could expect. But we're going to be here for you during the time. I'd like to point out on the slide, there's a list of key operational considerations. These are operational considerations are going to be targeted as part of the training program for your operators, and they'll extend all the way from the fundamental treating of operation principles that are specific to the process that you select, whether it be a membrane treatment or a conventional softening treatment or whatever treatment is selected for this particular project. And that training will extend all the way through the project, all the way through on-the-job training at the end of the project and through the operational phase of the project. I could go through in detail of all these items. I know we've only got so much time, and fact, I could talk about operations for a couple of hours, but I'm pretty sure I'll let you off the hook and I'll stop. But if you have any questions, I would be available for answering those. Thank you.
And at this point, if we stand for any questions, I know we covered a lot of territory fairly quickly there, but would be more than happy to take any questions.
I'll just make, while council may be pondering the questions, I'll make a comment. First of all, I didn't get a chance to say welcome officially. And this has been a thought in the city of Valley Center's head for such a long time. I've been on the governing body since '07, and I know prior to that, that getting our own water treatment facility is finally moved itself fast enough up to the top of the chain to actually have to stay here to get it going. And I'm sure you're aware of the main reason is that Wichita has just gotten way out of control with the amount of, the costs from what they charge us as opposed to what they give us for our untreated water. And it's now become more practical to just do this part. So I'm glad we're here, and I'm glad it sounds like I got a great team here. I was impressed with your the RFP stuff too. I read, so I think we're making a good choice. Councilmember Kerstetter.
First, your proposal here, it's great. I didn't read it word for word, I know, but I skimmed over some areas and then read more areas closer. On page 27, figure 12, could you expand on that? We've got some.
Do we have it in there?
The copy is not in.
Okay, so, it's in here. That one.
That one.
So, I was talking with Jake a little bit. Can you just kind of like the parts that kind of get my attention are the ease of expansion, future regulations, and the cost sections. So, and knowing a little bit of chemistry, I know that reverse osmosis is going to be our better route to go versus our softening. However, and historically, it's been more too cost prohibitive, but you said it was not as cost prohibitive. But go ahead and explain this.
Yeah. So this slide was put together really just for comparison purposes of the four main treatment options that we feel like, at least at this point, are viable. Right? We were very careful not to eliminate or cut anything or take anything off of the table at the beginning. Right? Now is not the time during the process that we're at. Or the stage that we're at, right? We can start cutting things once we start getting into detailed discussions about what's best for Valley Center. So this just really kind of compares all four of these treatment options. So the way this table is put together, if you look at capital cost, so there's 5 boxes there. You've got the dark purple one, then the light purple one. So what that would indicate is that has a level of roughly 4. Right, from a capital cost standpoint. It's not the most expensive, which would be all 5 of those boxes would be dark purple. And it's not the cheapest option either. And, when we're talking about reverse osmosis as an option, so that's under green sand and membrane softening, right? There are 2 options available to the city for membrane softening, and that's nanofiltration or reverse osmosis. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. I love it. Just like Don talked about operations, I can talk about this stuff all day long. But at the end of the day, what we have seen in the industry over the last 20 years is the cost of membrane softening is dropping, right? While the cost of lime softening and pellet softening is staying the same and really maintaining the same general level of cost, all comparative over time. But we see that drop in cost over time as a result of more competition in the marketplace, right? More people making this product. And also the technology is not necessarily new anymore. It's actually not new at all. It was developed in the 1970s. So just over time, costs start to come down. So the capital cost standpoint, we actually just went through this exact same exercise in Bonner Springs, Kansas, where we're looking at membrane softening versus lime softening. And it turned out that membrane softening was less expensive than lime softening was. So that's how that table's put together. When we look at future regulations, if I'm not a soothsayer, right? I don't read tea leaves incredibly well, right? We try our best to, and it's really our business to have a general understanding of what's going to be coming down the road when you talk about future water quality regulations. There's lots of them that are out there. PFOS, PFOA, right? Hexavalent, chromium. There's lots of things that potentially could be regulated by the EPA, and then that makes its way down to KDHE, and then that makes its way to the individual communities. So when you're talking about future regulations, one of the best treatment options that are out there right now for treating a large amount of contaminants in water is going to be membranes, either nanofiltration or reverse osmosis. So that's why when you see on the future regulations, we've got 4 bars that are colored dark purple, meaning that is the best technology at this point right now to treat a number of different things, including a number of contaminants that may be coming up in the future that could be regulated. When you look at green sand and ion exchange, right, that technology is, you've got green sand. Green sand removes iron and manganese. That's all it does, okay? And ion exchange softens water. That's all it does, right? It doesn't take care of any of those other things that are in the water. So that's why it kind of gets a single bar for being able to meet potential future regulations. What that means for you all is as regulations change, right, you could place a higher value on not needing to come back in 5 years or 10 years and add a treatment process. A new treatment process based on a new regulation. That could be how we define value for you all, right? And that's all part of the process and part of the conversation is defining value, what's important, and weighing all of these factors together to pick the right treatment technology for you.
I think I'm good.
Appreciate that question.
We can do.
We have a chemist here too, so you know he's
Yeah, I know.
he's
I
into
know.
this stuff. So I'll let him go. So
We were going to get into water stability indices and things like that, but it doesn't sound like it.
you might, but
We
not at
might,
this
I
point.
don't know.
Thank you.
Jake.
Anybody else? Huh? All right. Well, unless you have anything else, thank you very much for coming.
Once again, we really appreciate it and look forward to working on this fantastic project.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can we have it done yesterday? All right. So council.
Hey.
Oh.
So before we go to the next step, I think I speak for all of us here. I'd like to thank all of the representatives from Burns McDonald, CAS Constructors, for taking time to come visit with us, speak with us about your approach to this project, very critical project. And with that being said, based on the scores the selection committee brought before you, staff recommends a motion to direct us to enter into negotiations with Burns McDonald, CAS LLC, for fees and final scope of services for phase 1 of the design and construction of a water treatment plant.
Councilmember Anderson.
I just had a comment that, pardon me, my voice is a little gone. That leads into the vote, but the council's job is to take the information that we're given from city staff and vote on it. And to me, the selection committee, the scores on this, it's a no-brainer for us. I mean, we have some people up here that have expertise in different things, but that committee's job, they're more knowledgeable than this group is as far as this information. And you funneled that information onto a page. But to me, the scores of this, it's not even a question. Like we've had other things that we've built in the past that have been competitive where it's just a matter of 1 or 2 points and here and there. And this one doesn't seem to be anywhere close. So I think this is we had a fantastic group in front of us and that presentation was great. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Clarification for the dollar stuff. So phase 1 is your 220-day. Okay, and then that's going to be one fee, and then phase 2 would be a separate fee. Okay, and Barry, we can make that all into one payment, basically. I'm talking Mr. Smith. Sorry. Okay.
We'll do the temporary financing
All right. Perfect.
Well, counsel, you missed your chance because you see, he read the entire motion and all somebody had to do was say, so moved, but now it's too late. So somebody's got to read the motion again.
Since I ruined it, I'll do it. I move to enter negotiations with Burns McDonnell, CAS LLC for fees and final scope of services for phase 1 of the design and construction of the water treatment plant.
Second.
I have a motion in a couple seconds. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you again.
Thank you, council. And just one more thing, in keeping with transparency and following the guidelines we set forth in our RFP, it was stated that we would only open the fee and proposal envelope for the firm that came before you today. That envelope has been sent back unopened to the other 2 proposers. I will open this. These fees, I will not discuss the fees tonight. These fees will be used in the negotiations, but I want to be very transparent in how we handle this RFP. Right?
You getting that on camera up here? Got a close up of him opening it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
council.
All right. Item C, third quarter financial review. Last one you get to give us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. After 3 years, I'm going to remember. My name is Matt Kane. I'm your city treasurer. I will finally remember. In your packet tonight, you have the third quarter review for fiscal year 2022. Starts off with the treasurer's report there at the beginning, followed by departmental accomplishments. I don't have anything specific to add. Do you all have any questions?
Councilmember Kerstetter or Councilmember Wilson, our big accounting guys here. One watches the money and the one makes sure the other one is spending it right. So I'm going to, of course, anybody else can speak, but those would be the first 2 that I would expect to speak up if there were issues. So if there are none, do we have a motion to receive and file?
Motion to accept and file third quarter financial review report.
Second.
Motion it is, look, man, you're leaving soon. Don't cause me to let you go sooner. All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Moving on to item 12, consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Moving along to staff reports. Mr. Schreck is not here. Mr. Owens. Captain Vote. Mr. Eggleston.
He was up there for how long?
I know. Tonight was the Mr. Eggleston meeting.
I can't do that. First off, last Tuesday, some of you may know we had a little water leak over here on Abilene. And despite our efforts, we scrambled around the dark and we were not able to get that thing shut down. As luck would have it, one of our team members, Mr. Interkin, has had some experience in this, and he was down in that puddle of water and fighting and holding back that water spewing out. And he was able to put a clamp on that line live and get that line closed off live in that cold water. So after hours and hours and hours of being in that cold water, I have to take my hat off to Mr. Interkin and the whole team. They fought that thing. We were able to get that shut down. It was a 6-inch ductile iron line and it had a crack in it.
Yeah,
minimal disruption.
I drove by them. I was going somewhere and I saw all of a sudden I saw city crews heading over that way and I'm like, that can't be good. And sure enough, I went over there and there it was, just like kind of reminded me of the beginning of the Beverly Hillbillies. It was just bubbling right out of the ground, only it wasn't crude oil. So
it was really cool because after that meeting, we sat down and had a lessons learned meeting, and Mr. Interkin he's working on some little crude drawings, and he's got a couple tools that he's designing just for that sole purpose, where while he's down in the hole, someone can put this piece down on that actual line and divert that water spraying out away from him so he can see what he's doing, and then maybe we can work more of these live. So bringing expertise from other jobs, going to put that to use.
Cool. That actually just brought a question in my mind. Do we have wetsuits when they're sitting there exposed to that? I mean, are they in a
So
wetsuit?
we have water suits, and then he actually had on a pair of bibs that were like rubber, so they're more like waders. We
Right.
have about 3 pairs of those as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but that didn't keep him from his hands.
No.
The water's cold now.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
water's cold.
So, okay. Just curious. All right.
And then the next thing, we have Valley Center. I'm sure some of you know, we have won the People's Choice for the water tower. Does not mean we've won Tank of the Year, but we're gonna. That'll be announced on Friday. By gosh, we better. So, with that being said, I have nothing further. Thank you all for staying. Stick around. I hope you have fun.
Thank you. Mr. Shear. Mr. Arbuckle. Mr. Smith.
Gonna do it. Good evening.
You better not.
Since Brent's not here. Good evening.
Yes. Mr. Clark, if you're watching, he's fired. No, he's not. No, he's not. That was a joke. It's all good. No.
It'll be just fine. So, no, I just want to thank Bridget McDonald and CAS for coming here this evening. Great presentation. Look forward to working with you. That comes at a great time. And recently I participated in the City of Wichita rate structure study and process they went through to figure out their rates on the upcoming schedule for this year and the next 20 years. And I mean, we're looking at 6.5% increases year over year for the next 10 years minimum. So this is a great time for that. And speaking of water rates, we'll be reviewing those over the next month and a half ourselves. So to figure out where we need to set ourselves up to be in the best position financially to help this water treatment plant move forward from there. So I think that's about it from me. Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Clark. No, I didn't get text. So, all right. We're going to move on to governing body reports. Well, I've been had a busy couple weeks. Attended the, was that before? Yeah, that was since the last meeting. Attended the League of Kansas Municipalities with Councilmember Colbert and Ms. Crothers. That was, it's been a while since I've been there. The things have changed since first time I went. It was still very educational. Met some very interesting people, which is really the main goal of that. We had a very interesting speaker that taught us about body language. And I brought that up is because, I was taking what I was learning, listening while I was watching you guys, and it was very interesting. That was a very, very interesting class. Some of that stuff, though, we discussed were kind of like, no, but she was a very good lady, very nice lady. Talked to her afterwards. And I think that's all I have. Councilmember Stam.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Evans.
I just wanted to say thanks to all the city staff and everybody that's been involved. Looking at the third quarter review and the accomplishments, it is awesome what we're doing in Valley Center. So just wanted to say thank you.
This is interesting. This was, I just read gold copy. Councilmember Bass.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Anderson.
I just wanted to thank city staff for the water leak fix. I didn't get a chance to say that during your comments, but I actually got a call from the business owner that was adjacent to that leak. And it was about, I think it was right at 5 or right after 5 when the call came into you guys. And I think somebody else had already called, but I texted Brent and he was pulling up to the site. So within 1 minute of her calling me, you guys showed up. So it made me look really good. So I want to say thank you for that. So I can't always deliver for constituents like that, but it was much appreciated. So, and my other comment on the water treatment plant is it's not 100% cost. We've been talking about this, and I think Lou and I have been on, I haven't been on council quite as long as him, but since 2012. And I know one of the years we had a pretty big scare with Cheney Reservoir being pretty dry, and we were limited on our water. And I think more so than the cost is going to be just the viability of and availability of water. And I think this gives us a lot of security in that. And I think that's going to be worth more than money in the long run, because there's going to be municipalities that have all the money in the world, and it doesn't matter if you don't have the availability of that. So it's a precious resource that's more and more scarce every year. And obviously we haven't had rain for a long time, so I don't think it's going to improve anytime soon. So this is a big step for our city. That's all I have.
Councilmember Gregory.
I have nothing tonight.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson.
I'm good, sir.
And Councilmember Colbert.
I got a few things for you. Nobody said it. I got a folder here that from the League of Municipalities. It's got some interesting books on it. There's some information down here on the table, bags, some other stuff, computer pads. And that. We brought a little reminder of the conference back here. Mayor, did you get all the things out?
No, I didn't. That was very funny because we had a lunch at the same time that the exhibits were open, and all those great people I met sat at the table, and we just talked. And the next thing I know, we were done. We were talking for 3 hours, and I really didn't even get a chance to walk through the exhibits, thinking I was supposed to get all the pens, but so no, I failed you. Sorry.
Can't imagine you talking for 3 hours.
No problem. Because, I do have a lot of pens. The only thing is my wife took them out of the bag. So I'll bring them at the next meeting. Give it to you guys. The other thing is that Halloween is going to be the end of the month, and we're going to have the Lions Club's going to have their regular deal outside, and the Chamber of Commerce. Get a chance, come on down, take a look at that. I believe that's about it, unless somebody else has any business before the council. I'll make a motion, the meeting be adjourned.
Second?
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.